Year of the Dragon brings turmoil. CCP confronts 9 ominous signs. CCP's overseas propaganda exposed as foreign website facade hits dead end. It's all covered in today's China Truths. Year of the Dragon brings turmoil. CCP confronts 9 ominous signs. The year 2024 marks the Year of the Dragon, a time rumored online to bring the downfall of significant figures, with many pivotal changes occurring in dragon years throughout Chinese history. Wang Youquan, a former official of the Central Commission for Discipline Inspection, has identified at least 9 ominous signs emerging early in the dragon year. The Shandong mass shooting on the first day of the lunar month. On February 10, during the Chinese New Year, a tragic mass shooting rocked Jikou Village, Zhu County, Rizhao City, Shandong Province, resulting in at least 21 fatalities. Reports suggest that among the victims were a doctor and 2 police officers who responded to the scene. According to a resident, the assailant targeted 11 individuals from 5 families that night, wiping out entire households. The following morning, the attacker returned to claim 10 more lives, bringing the total death toll to 21, with 3 others critically injured. Firearms, including shotguns and homemade guns, were reportedly used in the attack. Wang Youquan stated that despite the CCP's efforts to censor news of the Shandong mass murder online, an emergency notice issued by the Rizhao City Political and Legal Affairs Committee on February 11 called for focused inspections on 16 categories of individuals who might trigger extreme individual incidents, indirectly confirming the reality of the shooting. The Xingtai explosion on the 4th day of the lunar year. On the morning of February 13, the 4th day of the Chinese New Year at 8 a.m., an explosion occurred in Building No. 9 of Jinwanmingdu Community, Renzi District, Xingtai City, Hebei Province. Videos and photos circulated online show a devastating scene, with 3 floors penetrated and 2 middle floors collapsing entirely in the explosion. From the 1st to the 3rd floor, all anti-theft steel windows and glass were blown out, and steel windows below the 5th floor were all deformed. The vicinity was in disarray, and the sound of ambulance sirens was piercing. Injured individuals were seen being carried away from the site. Wang Youquan mentioned that at this time during the New Year holiday, many people might still have been asleep, with most staying at home and not venturing out. Such a severe explosion undoubtedly caused significant casualties, yet the authorities have yet to disclose the cause or the number of casualties, raising public speculation and concern. Men in black reappear at the New Year gathering. On February 8, CCP leader Xi Jinping led the Politburo Standing Committee members to attend the New Year gathering. In a group photo released by the CCP's media, Xi Jinping and the other 6 standing committee members were seated at the forefront at a large round table, with dozens of tables of guests behind them, each table hosting about 10 people. At the 4 round tables closest to Xi, among the elderly men and women with white hair, sat a young man in black with a crew cut at each table. Wang Youquan analyzed that these men in black are likely security personnel from the Central Security Bureau. They were placed among these retired elderly officials, evidently to monitor them and ensure Xi Jinping's safety. Commentators believe that this group photo sends a clear message to the world. Despite Xi Jinping's years-long purge of those he deems disloyal within the party and the military, he remains deeply concerned and fearful for his own safety. Infighting among military commission leadership. Last year saw a significant shakeup in the CCP's military ranks. Tensions have arisen between Xi Jinping, head of the Central Military Commission, and Vice Chairman Zhang Youxia, particularly because several senior generals, including former Defense Minister Li Shangfu, were under Zhang's command. During a New Year's performance to comfort the old cadres of the troops stationed in Beijing on January 29, Xi Jinping, accompanied by Zhang Youxia and other generals, was greeted with a solitary salute while several officers saluted Zhang. Interestingly, CCTV footage initially showed these salutes to Zhang but was later edited to remove them, likely to prevent any embarrassment to Xi. This move suggests that Zhang commands greater respect within the military than Xi. Rumors of discord have also emerged between Zhang Youxia and another vice chairman of the military commission, He Weidong. On February 8, Xinhua, the CCP's media outlet, published an article titled Zhang Yoxia and Yi Weidong Research and Visit Soldiers and Beijing Troops. However, when reposted by People's Daily, the title was altered to Yi Weidong and Zhang Yoxia Research and Visit Soldiers and Beijing Troops. According to Wang Youchuan, this change was not an oversight but likely a deliberate directive. While the source of this directive remains unknown, it suggests internal strife between the two vice-chairmen of the Military Commission. Is there a blood feud between Qin Gang and Wang Yi? On February 12, the third day of the Chinese New Year, The Washington Post published an article revealing the circumstances behind the disappearance of Qin Gang, the former Chinese foreign minister. The article suggests that Qin Gang, personally and exceptionally fast-tracked by Xi Jinping to become the youngest party and state leader, Minister of Foreign Affairs and State Councilor, angered his colleagues. His rapid rise led to a blood feud between him and his predecessor, Wang Yi. Qin Gang's disappearance after just over half a year in office, followed by his removal from the positions of foreign minister and state councilor, has sparked rumors about internal conflicts with former foreign minister Wang Yi, extramarital affairs with former Phoenix TV anchor Fu Xiaotian, illegitimate children, and spy scandals. The article claims that Qin Gang was unaware his lover was a spy. Upon discovering this, he attempted to take his own life and was then admitted to Hospital 301, which serves high-ranking military and political officials of the CCP. The authenticity of this information cannot be verified by the outside world. Chinese stock market suffers another blow. On February 13, during the Chinese New Year, FX 168 Finance reported that MSCI Incorporated delisted 66 companies from the MSCI China Index in its latest quarterly review. Morgan Stanley will begin dumping these Chinese stocks on February 29, dealing another blow to the struggling Chinese stock market. Between 2021 and 2023, the Chinese and Hong Kong stock markets lost $6 trillion. In just 1 month of 2024, another $1 trillion evaporated. Over 3 years and a month, the CCP stock market hemorrhaged a total of $7 trillion. Ahead of the Chinese New Year, the Chinese stock market briefly plummeted below 2,700 points, hitting a 5-year low. The CCP intervened urgently to stabilize the market, resulting in the removal of the chairman of the China Securities Regulatory Commission. While the market has stabilized somewhat, the outlook remains grim. Professor Xie Tian from the University of South Carolina Aiken's School of Business remarked, "The tragedy of the Chinese stock market is that foreign investors haven't returned, and local investors have been devastated. The CCP's relentless exploitation has become unsustainable." Putin's backstabbing moment? On February 8, Tucker Carlson, a well-known American media personality, sat down with Russian President Vladimir Putin for an interview that lasted over 2 hours. This interview quickly went viral, sparking intense interest both in the United States and internationally. Putin remarked, "The West is more afraid of a powerful China than a powerful Russia because while Russia has 150 million people, China boasts a population of 1.5 billion. This statement suggests Putin's implication: it's not Russia that the West views as its number one enemy, but rather the CCP. Xi Jinping has previously described Putin as my best and dearest friend, highlighting the closeness of their relationship. However, Yi Yaoyuan, a professor specializing in international studies at the University of St. Thomas, views Putin's comments as a direct betrayal of the CCP. CCP's heinous crime, the persecution of Buddhism. On February 15, Minghui.org reported that 3 elderly Falun Gong practitioners, 74-year-old Deng Xiugui, 70-year-old Du Yingfen, and 67-year-old Yang Guihua, are scheduled for another illegal trial by the Chuanshan District Court in Suining, Sichuan Province, on February 19. On July 20, 1999, the Chinese Communist Party, led by Jiang Zemin, initiated a fierce crackdown on Falun Gong, a spiritual practice that has now been almost 25 years ago. Despite the Communist Party's attempts to suppress it, Falun Gong has spread to 156 countries worldwide, as it is not your average Qigong practice. It's Buddhism. Wang Youchuan asserts that historically, persecuting Buddhism is a crime of immense magnitude. The CCP's ongoing persecution is a rebellion against natural law, bringing disaster upon the nation, its people, and future generations. This relentless attack on Buddhism ensures the CCP's path is littered with mistakes and misdeeds, leading inexorably to its complete downfall. Happy New Year's Eve greetings. As we've mentioned previously, the CCP's official decision not to grant a holiday on New Year's Eve has angered the public. It's rumored that the term New Year's Eve sounds like remove Xi in Chinese, which is a sensitive issue for CCP leader Xi Jinping. According to independent commentator Kai Shen-kuan, individuals within the CCP circle are using WeChat to send greetings this year. Instead of the customary Happy New Year, they are exclusively sending Happy New Year's Eve. This subtle shift in wording is understood as a form of silent protest, with individuals liking each other's posts as a sign of solidarity. Kai Shen-kuan analyzes that this should be seen as a peculiar expression of public sentiment. People feel powerless in the face of reality, so they can only vent their emotions in this way. This used to be very rare. The saying "the people do not fear death" probably applies here as well. The whole society, including the bureaucratic class, is lifeless and cannot feel the optimistic and upward atmosphere promoted by the party's newspapers. People are waiting for the arrival of 1976, and the vast majority believe that this period of history should come to an end. The year 1976, also a year of the dragon, was marked by significant upheavals in China, including a meteor shower in Jilin, a devastating earthquake in Tangshan, and the deaths of key CCP leaders such as Zhou Enlai, Zhu De, and Mao Zedong. This year also saw the arrest of Mao's wife, Jiang Qing, and the rest of the Gang of Four. As 2024, another year of the dragon, unfolds, the CCP is facing a series of ominous signs. There are widespread rumors online suggesting that the year of the dragon will see the fall of big figures. Associate Professor Feng Chongyi of the University of Technology Sydney previously told the Epoch Times that the top black swan event for the CCP in 2024 would be the downfall of CCP leader Xi Jinping. CCP's overseas propaganda exposed as foreign website facade hits dead end. In early February, the Citizen Lab at the University of Toronto dropped a bombshell report. It revealed over 100 fake websites posing as local news outlets worldwide, all run by the same Chinese PR firm. These sites were pushing pro-Communist Party content, marking yet another chapter in the CCP's global propaganda playbook. Analysts are saying this is a sign of desperation. With China's economy on a downturn and the CCP picking fights globally, their propaganda machine's days are numbered. The practice of masquerading as local foreign websites started popping up in 2020 but flew under the radar until Mandiant, a U.S. cybersecurity firm, caught wind of them in 2022. Follow-up coverage by Italy's Il Foglio and South Korea's National Cybersecurity Center, plus a detailed dive by Canada's Citizen Lab, blew the lid off the operation. These sites mimic local news but twist the narrative to fit the CCP's agenda. They're slick but not too careful, rarely citing sources and quick to delete any content that might stir up trouble with censors. For example, fake South Korean sites boasted fake credentials and lacked basic contact info, all while sporting names eerily close to legit news outlets. Italy, South Korea, Japan, Russia, the UK, France, Brazil, Turkey, and Spain were all targets, with the most fakes found in South Korea and Japan. Il Foglio traced 6 Italian fakes back to the same IP address in Frankfurt, hosted by Tencent, a big name in China's tech scene. How about the content? Low quality and low traffic, all traced back to Haimai Yunxiang Media, a company out of Shenzhen with suspiciously low starting capital, 30,000 yuan, about $4,215 US. This outfit claimed to specialize in global media outreach, boasting connections to thousands of media websites worldwide. But when the CCP called for bids to spread their message on platforms like Facebook and X, formerly Twitter, it was their own media outlets that mostly won the contracts. Insiders suggest this whole operation is tightly controlled by the CCP, with local authorities possibly given quotas. Funding could be direct or through subsidies and tax breaks. A few years back, one company's sole job was to boost CCP propaganda on Twitter. Ho Leung Mao, CEO of Canada's Broad Media and chair of the Hong Kong Legislative Council Preparatory Committee, told the Epoch Times, "In the CCP's autocratic regime, controlling ideology is crucial." The company in Shenzhen is likely a subcontractor in the CCP's extensive propaganda network, not operating independently. Corruption is likely rampant, with influential figures siphoning funds, leading to poor content quality. 2 milestones in CCP's global propaganda campaign. In the realm of CCP's global propaganda, 2 key years stand out: 2009 and 2019. Since 2008, CCP's propaganda efforts have ramped up. Leveraging the global financial crisis, the CCP pushed its China model through external propaganda, backed by a hefty investment of 45 billion yuan in 2009, approximately $6.8 billion, based on exchange rate in that year. This image illustrates the influence of CCP propaganda on various countries, with darker shades indicating greater impact, according to sources from Freedom House's 2022 report, showing its extensive influence on media content and discourse. Tactics like acquiring foreign media companies have been used to indirectly spread CCP narratives, particularly in Africa, Asia, and Latin America. 2019 was pivotal, with events like the Hong Kong protests and the pandemic. The CCP intensified its false narrative dissemination on social media, targeting Hong Kong protesters and deflecting blame for the virus onto the United States. A visual representation depicts CCP's political propaganda ads on Facebook, with a surge observed in 2020. Around 2020, disguised foreign websites emerged, focusing on pandemic-related issues. Initially targeting South Korea and Japan, they expanded to Europe and Latin America by early 2023, with over 123 uncovered globally. Today, CCP's extensive propaganda extends across multilingual official media websites, digital TV networks, and platforms like TikTok and WeChat. Utilizing deceptive tactics, it forms a complex and sophisticated system. CCP's extensive propaganda hits dead end. CCP's extensive propaganda appears to be transitioning into a new phase. Primarily, as the CCP regime faces increasing disfavor, its extensive propaganda efforts are proving ineffective. Both domestically and internationally, there's a growing opposition to Xi Jinping and the Communist Party. Additionally, public awareness of Beijing's activities is on the rise, leading to active investigations, exposures, and resistance to related influence operations by government agencies, investigative journalists, and civil society activists. The image above displays CCP's extensive propaganda Twitter accounts, which were removed in 2019. While most of these accounts were created in 2019, a significant number existed for several years prior. Since 2019, platforms like Facebook and YouTube have also banned CCP's extensive propaganda accounts or channels. Last August, Facebook removed over 7,000 CCP propaganda accounts. The Freedom House report further highlights that CCP's actions often undermine the narratives it seeks to promote. Beijing's domestic human rights abuses and aggressive foreign policies weaken CCP's attempts to present itself as a responsible international actor. In 23 out of 30 surveyed countries, public opinion regarding China, CCP, or the Chinese, CCP, government has declined. Shi Qing, a former councillor near Calgary, Canada, has noticed a significant shift. He recalls how, 8 or 9 years ago, many praised China's economy, but he disagreed, predicting an economic collapse. Now, his viewpoint is widely echoed, especially since Xi Jinping's true intentions became clear in 2019 with the detention of 2 Canadians and CCP's role in the COVID-19 outbreak. Shi Qing believes that despite CCP's extensive propaganda efforts, its effectiveness is waning as the truth comes to light. Even Western political figures once supportive of the CCP are distancing themselves from China. Consequently, extensive propaganda may no longer be necessary. Moreover, CCP's economic struggles limit its financial resources. Shurqing notes that CCP's overseas influence relies heavily on dwindling foreign reserves, leading to reduced funding, particularly for less critical activities. Meanwhile, attorney Chen Chuang, CEO of the National Committee of the China Democratic Party, suggests that while reduced spending is possible amid CCP's economic downturn, complete abandonment of extensive propaganda is uncertain. He emphasizes the need for vigilance and resistance from the global community, urging the U.S. to consider banning platforms like TikTok and WeChat unless they transfer data and infrastructure to the United States, ensuring trustworthiness. Don't forget to leave a comment in the section below to share your opinions on today's topic with us. Make sure to like and subscribe to see more interesting topics from China Truths.